Hello and welcome back to She Plans here on YouTube. This is a video that I have been wanting to put together for quite some time now. If you are feeling overwhelmed with your schedule, if you're feeling like that to-do list is simply endless and you don't have the time to do all of it, then this is the video for you. Today, we are going to go through the process of planning our ideal week. Now, this video is the first part in a 3-part series. We are first going to be working on our ideal week. We're going to then move on to our ideal month and quarter, and then we're going to bring it back to our day. Now, these 3 videos can be watched in any order that you choose, but for me, that process of going from your week to your month and then back to your day is perfect. So stick around and let's get going. Our first go-ahead video. So, you ready to So today we are going to be planning out your ideal week. Now, I've created some worksheets to go along with this video as well as the other 2 videos in this series. So if you'd like to follow along on the worksheets, take a look at the link below and you'll find them there. I'm going to go over the overall concept of planning your ideal week first, and then we're going to move down and take a look at the worksheets and show you how I worked through them to create my ideal week. Now, you may be wondering, why take the time to create an ideal week? There is simply too much going on, too many moving parts, that creating an ideal week may feel pointless. Well, designing your ideal week is sort of like designing a budget. Except instead of money, we are working with time. But the same concept applies. You get a certain amount of time every week, and it's up to you to allocate it the best you can. Now, sure, some allocations are a bit more fixed than others, just like with a budget. But overall, you have more control than you might think. And just like with a financial budget, once you sit down and craft your ideal week, you'll feel a sense of relief, knowing everything is accounted for and seeing that you have a little more wiggle room than you may initially have thought. Now, to the concept of an ideal week. You may be looking at me and saying, my ideal week is sitting on a beach sipping cocktails. That's not what we're going for here. We are looking for a week where you feel super productive, but not overwhelmed, where you feel a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day, but still had time to relish in it. During this process, you may find that you want to create 2 or 3 different ideal weeks, depending on the focus of that week. For me, I currently have 2 ideal weeks focused on different business goals each week. So when I say ideal week, we are going for a week full of productivity, full of achievements, along with the space to breathe and soak it all in. Okay, it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. If you have our worksheets, this is the time to pull them out. With these worksheets, we are going to be taking an inventory of everything you have on your plate, and we're going to find a time and place for each one. Think of it like organizing your pantry. We're going to be taking everything out, throwing out the items that we don't like or we've forgotten are in there and are just taking up space, and then categorizing everything and putting them neatly back on the shelves. Now, throughout this process, I want you to question everything. Just like cleaning out your pantry, you may find items that are questionable. You may look at a can of pumpkin and ask yourself, am I really going to make pumpkin soup? Or is this just taking up space? A real life example, you may drive your kids to school every morning, but do you need to be spending your time doing that? Can they take the bus? You may do a load of laundry every afternoon, but are your kids old enough to possibly take that chore on themselves? Question everything, and once we're done, you'll be happy that you did. Okay, now we're going to move down to the table and take a look at these worksheets. Okay, So before we dive into the worksheets that I have given you guys to use, I wanted to go over kind of what I created out of all this work to kind of show you the end result, what your goal is, and why I feel it's so important to do this work. I really do believe that creating your ideal week is the structure that your planning needs. It's like building a piece of furniture from IKEA without reading the instructions or even without having instructions written. You may find that two pieces fit together pretty well, so you join them. You may find that two others fit pretty well, so you join those, and so on, until you have a piece in front of you that pretty much looks like the way it was designed to look, but it just doesn't feel perfect. Here we are going to be writing the instructions for your planning, and everything that you do week to week, month to month will simply fall into this structure. So here is the worksheet that I created out of all the work we're going to be doing today. I have my ideal work week. I pretty much just did the work for Monday through Friday and really focused on my work schedule and my cleaning schedule for those days. So I came up with my daily schedule. My days are pretty much the same, and so I have a pretty standard daily schedule. We're going to go through this process and I'll show you how I got to this end result. But then within the process, I found that I have about 2.5 hours a day for work. And then I like to do my cleaning, a power hour with my kids for an hour every day. It doesn't always take an hour, but we set aside an hour every day. So then I designed a week 1 and a week 2, like I said, focused on different business goals that I have. And then I have structured our power hour cleaning schedule. So this is kind of like my go-to cheat sheet when planning my weeks. And it is so helpful to know the things that I have to do every single day. And then as things change and alter, they will fall into this structure. Okay, so let's dive into the worksheets. Now, the first worksheet that you will work on is this. It's my ideal week. It's laid out hourly, actually including half hours, from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Now, that might be a longer day than you like to structure. That's perfectly fine. I don't use the whole entire day either. I like to think hourly. But if you think a little differently, I have also created a weekly worksheet that just does morning, afternoon, and evening. So if you'd like to work on this worksheet, that is perfectly acceptable. But I worked on this one because I really like to do this step down to the 30 minutes. I figure the better I can create my structure, the more flexibility I actually have in it. So the very first thing that we will do with this worksheet is you will pencil in all of your appointments. Now, when I say appointments, I mean anything that must happen at a certain time and day. And I usually make that include working with other people in some way. So something needs to happen at a certain time and day because other people are involved in that activity and they are expecting that activity to happen at that certain time and day. So that's your very first step. You're only putting in the things into your week that happen by appointment because you're working with somebody else, you're doing this activity with somebody else, and it needs to happen at that time. So that is step one. Those are the only things you're putting into your week. Now, when I did that step, here's what I came up with. From 6 a.m. to 8:30, I do school prep and drop off. That's when I wake everybody up, we get dressed, we have breakfast, we make lunches, and I drive everyone to school. Then I come home for an hour. So I have that blank. 8:30 to 9:30, I'm at home. 9:30 to 10:30. Now it's actually 9:30 to probably 10:15, but the more buffers you can give yourself, the more you will enjoy your schedule. So 9:30 to 10:30. I titled that school transfer. My oldest daughter is in high school, and her first class, she is actually interning at an elementary school. So I have to go pick her up from her elementary school and bring her back to the high school for the rest of her school day. So that's school transfer. Then I'm at home from 10:30 till 2. Then at 2 o'clock, I go and I pick up my youngest two at the elementary school. Then I'm home for a half an hour, and then I pick up my oldest two at the high school. This will greatly change once my oldest can drive. She can drive them to school. And next year, I have told my youngest that they will be taking the bus home. So I hopefully will only have this come next semester. So I'm really excited about that change. So right now, it looks like I'm pretty much just a chauffeur all day. And some days that's what it feels like. So I get home at 4, and then we have an hour, and my two elementary students have homework. Now, they are given their homework for the entire week, and they have soccer on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we have pushed all of our homework into Mondays and Tuesdays so that they don't even have to worry about their homework on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Luckily, we receive our assignments all at the beginning of the week, and so that works out perfectly. But that's how we've structured it. So then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my husband actually takes them to soccer practice, but I have to get them ready. So from 5 to 5:30, we are either doing homework or I am getting them ready to go to soccer, and they are out the door at 5:30. The last category I have is kind of family meals and events. We do family dinner 3 nights a week all together. And then we do Sunday pancakes, and we have movie night every Saturday night. We have, in our new home here, we have a basement, and we have a great little home theater down there. And so we do movie nights every Saturday night. So these are all of my must-do appointments. As you can see, it's pretty bare. These are really only the things I must do. But you can also see the space that I now have available in my days. We do have soccer games on the weekends, but those are variable. And as you saw with my end result, I focused really on Monday through Friday right now. As I get used to this schedule, I may structure my weekends, but I kind of like my weekends non-structured. I've got 4 kids. There's a lot of structure to our week. It's nice to have our weekends open and free and kind of a catch-all. Okay, so you can see where there is space and where you can fill in that space. So the next step number 2, is our tasks and our responsibilities. So this is a brainstorming step. You are going to take this worksheet and print it out as many copies as you need. You're going to, let's take the bottom worksheet out. You are going to categorize each section. So this could be your work activities. This could be home, family, personal, cleaning, however you feel like your life is categorized. And then you will just brainstorm all of the activities that you need to do under that category. And then you will assign daily, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, every 3 months or 6 months, or annually. Now, again, I have created 2 different worksheets for this step, just depending on how you work best. So this one, each section is its own category, and then you notch things off as appropriate. This is another way of looking at it, where you have just daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, 3 months, 6 months, and annual categories. And you can either brainstorm anything you can think of, it doesn't matter what category it falls into, and brain dump it all on this page. Again, printing out as many pages as you may need. Or you could print out a page per category. So both of these worksheets will do the same thing. It simply depends on how you think. Okay, so that is step 2. We are going to brainstorm everything that needs to get done. It's just like our pantry. We're emptying it all out and we're going through it and we're deciding what needs to stay. So again, with this step, question everything. I would first brain dump everything that you actually do and then go back through it and question everything. Do you need to be doing it? Like I said, on my schedule, I am a chauffeur currently. I am driving my kids around all day. We are changing that up next semester. So while you may see things that need to be changed, they may not be able to be changed immediately, but you can make the plan to change them. You can delete them, you can shift them, you can delegate other people to do them. But here is our brain dump of all of our tasks and responsibilities that need to get done. Okay, then the next step is I have created this kind of grid sheet, and I have work, home, family, personal, and an empty category for you to fill out if you have other categories in your life. You're going to take all of these tasks and responsibilities, especially the weekly, possibly the bi-weekly ones, but let's focus on the weekly ones for right now. You're going to take all of those and you are going to find a spot for them. When you are working on this, have this sheet here handy. You'll want to be looking at this while you are creating this, okay? So for me, most of my days are the same. I have certain time periods every single day, but this sheet may look vastly different. Your Mondays and your Wednesdays might look much different than your Tuesdays. So as you are taking all of your tasks and responsibilities and adding them into this sheet, remember to take a look and use this page here. It's very important. But the reason that I've created it this way is because you'll be able to see, marrying it with this sheet, you'll be able to see how full your day is. Now, you may have a very busy work day, and so you may not want to be doing a lot of cleaning. This may not be a day for you to do any personal tasks. You might want to move that to a different day. So fill in all your tasks and responsibilities into this worksheet. See how it fits. Move things around if you need to. This worksheet may take you a few times to get it all right. But we will then add everything from this worksheet, which is step 3, back into our first step. And we're going to fill everything in. Okay, I'm going to go fill in mine, and then we'll be back in 1 second. Okay, here we are back with my completed ideal week. Now, I went in and I focused on my cleaning and my work times. Like I said, right now, for my ideal week, those are my 2 focuses. I have an hour in between driving people to school. So I have an hour at home. I have a half hour home here. We have our 4 o'clock power hour, and then I clean up for dinner. So these yellow sections are all about taking care of the home. So either cleaning, tidying up, grocery shopping, that sort of thing. These are the times of day where that is my focus. I then, of course, have to eat. So we have breakfast and lunch here in that big chunk of time that I am home. So then I've come to my work hours. So from 11 to 1:30, I'm at work. And so those are my work hours because those are the ones that fit into my schedule. As I said before, some of your allocations are going to be a little more fixed than others. Many of you, your work schedule was on that first round because you work outside of the home, you have to be somewhere at a certain time and day, and so that was on your first round, and it is a fixed event. For me, it's a little more fluid, and that makes it important that I make it as fixed as possible because it can get pushed aside, or it could allow my home tasks to get pushed aside. So those 2 things are always kind of fighting each other. So that's why I have allocated them like this. So the importance of creating this ideal week is so then you can go and take a look at each category on its own and your work tasks. For me, it's work and home are the 2 categories that I looked at on its own, and really kind of did this whole process over again, just thinking about work and what needs to get done every day, how much time I actually have available. A lot of times we overcommit ourselves, not only to other people, but to ourselves personally, thinking that we can get more done in the day than we actually can. And so really seeing on paper how much time you have every day really helps you to prioritize what needs to get done and what's kind of just filling the time. So back to the beginning, after all of that, I was able to create this worksheet. And again, it has my daily schedule of everything. For a lot of those, for a lot of these yellow times, I have written out exactly what I want to get done during those times. And then I have my work schedule. Like I said, I created 2 different weeks. So I either look at my week as a design week or a content week, and I plan my week accordingly. I plan these hours accordingly. and then my power hour, because this involves my kids with me. I have outlined exactly what I want to get done in that hour. For me, I currently have just a laundry list of everything that could be done. Everyone needs to pick one and do it. And then we move on to the next day, take a look at what needs to get done, and everyone picks one. So it makes it simple and easy, but we've allocated the time to get it done, and that helps us end our day on a clean and tidy note. So I really hope you've enjoyed this ideal week. Next week, we are going to be using this and the knowledge that we've gained from this, really the time we actually have to dedicate to different tasks. We're going to be using that and creating our ideal month and our ideal quarter. So that is going to be next week. It's really going to be helpful in future planning, in goal setting, really knowing, what you can accomplish in a month and a quarter, so that when you come back to your week, you know exactly what you want to get done. So I hope you enjoyed this. I find this to be a most important step to planning. So I really hope that you take this to heart and do these activities and create your ideal week. If you found this helpful and you're excited about next week's video, please like this video and subscribe below.